Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Balla24 or Mid Afro, kind of whatever you know me as. And for this video, I actually wanted to take this time to talk about the E3 conference, especially yesterday, which would be Monday, day one of the E3 conference. Yes, this is an extremely old gameplay, um, but I wanted to kind of get my thoughts out there, get my opinions out there, as well as hear your guys' feedback and maybe see if you guys can honestly persuade me otherwise. Yesterday, the big news at E3 was obviously the debut of the Xbox One and the PS4 as gaming consoles and kind of seeing what they can do, getting the games, seeing some of the exclusives, and basically having both Microsoft and Sony trying to persuade people to pick one console over the other. And I'll be honest, just kind of right off the bat, I'm gonna say, I'll be perfectly honest, I'm sold on the Xbox One. I know that comes off as controversial. I know there's a lot of people in this community that disagree with me, but for my own reasons, which I'm going to get to, I am personally sold on the Xbox One. And the way I look at it is, at least the main thing I look at is that for gaming, for kind of like what I do, Xbox fits me better. Um, in the past, whether it's been, the 360 or the PlayStation 3, I've always been like a multiplayer person. At least in the last couple years, I've been playing almost nothing but multiplayer games, and I plan on continuing that. And in my experience, I mean, I was exclusively a PlayStation player until I started posting on YouTube. And in my experience, Xbox Live, Xbox Online is significantly better than the PlayStation Network in playing games online. Everything from the connection to the people that are playing to kind of everything that's involved, just in my opinion, in my experience, has been smoother and has been better on Xbox. The Xbox Live network just runs smoother. Is really the only way I can think of saying that. It's just everything about it just really runs the online game smoother. And PlayStation to me has always been the single player mindset. And that's kind of the same expectations, the same mindset I have going into the Xbox One and the PS4. Is that in my mind, I still have that mindset that Xbox has that established network for online. They've got that track record, they got that reputation for having this solid online community, having this solid online connection, whereas PlayStation's still developing that. And that's one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing that's keeping me on the Xbox. In addition, specifically at E3, the Xbox just their presentation was much more appealing to me. Their exclusives were much more entertaining, were much more suited to my taste. Um, One of them specifically being Rise. Rise looked absolutely incredible. Um, I am excited as hell for that game. For those of you that aren't familiar, that is the one about Rome, about the Roman warrior, and I'm extremely excited for that game just because I love history. I'm not huge on like Roman and Greek history, but the way that that's presented and the way visually that looked, I am extremely excited for that game. The one negative I've seen to it is that there are a ton of those little quick time events where you have to push a certain button at a certain time in order to do like an action, in order to do a command. And I personally hate those in games, and it was starting to get a little bit repetitive in the kind of demo that they showed. So we'll see if that becomes a problem with that game in the future, but that is definitely something that I was interested in. And I know a lot of people are interested in Respawn Entertainment's new title, and that was Titanfall. I had to remember the name of it. To me, I don't know. I'm not big into the whole mech idea. I'm not big into that whole thing. But I was having a discussion with some friends last night, and it is the community that created, or it is the company that created the original Call of Duties, or not the original Call of Duties, my fault, but like COD 4, Modern Warfare 2. It's Infinity Ward. It's the original Infinity Ward, and it's now Respawn Entertainment. And the engine in that game or in those games was so smooth that I can easily imagine that in Titanfall, the gameplay is just going to run incredibly smooth. It's going to run really well, and I'm excited for that. I'm also excited for Battlefield 4. I'm excited for Forza 5. I know Battlefield's not an Xbox exclusive, but Forza is. Um, there were a couple others that I was excited for. There were tons of games. I was just like freaking out during the conference on all the different things. Oh, Killer Instinct being another one. I doubt that's an Xbox exclusive. If it is, that is awesome. I remember playing the old Killer Instinct when I was younger. I got sucked into that immediately once I saw that. That I almost screamed like a little schoolgirl. Not to that extent, but um, yeah. So I mean, the Xbox conference, the Xbox presentation, to me just suited my taste a lot better than the PlayStation did. And again, that's also with the mentality that each of these games that I'm planning on playing, I'm pretty much expecting to take online and play online. And that ties in my kind of experience with Xbox as a whole, with Microsoft as a whole, and Xbox Live, and that the network runs smoother. Um, the next thing, though, is that the PlayStation conference, the PlayStation presentation. If you follow me on Twitter, I was unbelievably harsh on PlayStation. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like I'm justified with that, at least based off of my opinions, based off of like what I have experienced. I was a diehard PlayStation fan up until about 2 years ago. I absolutely refuse to acknowledge Microsoft for anything in regards to gaming. I refuse to acknowledge the Xbox as even a legitimate console until just a couple years ago because I had exclusively played PlayStation. I stuck to that. And so I still have love for the PlayStation as a console. I still have love for Sony as a company. And that was why I was unbelievably harsh towards them during their conference, during their presentation. Is that I have these such high expectations for them that I was expecting them to meet, and I didn't feel like they did. There was nothing about Sony's presentation that caught my attention. Between the appearance of the conference as a whole, personally, when they brought out the CEO of Sony, I felt like he came off as like a pompous asshole and just extremely arrogant. And I mean, just even from the very beginning with the music that he played, like I was getting honestly mad watching that guy and listening to him because I just felt like he had this whole arrogance about him as if he wanted to show that he's better than everyone. And that irritated me. Um, and then to add into that, Sony, I felt like had been extremely hypocritical as well with the fact that they're always advertising that they are a game first company, that they are focused on the gaming. And the entire first half of their presentation was not focused on gaming at all. It was focused on media, it was focused on um, entertainment, it was focused on like video streaming and music streaming and all of those things. And so that left a bad taste in my mouth from the very beginning of their presentation. And then once the presentation started, I wasn't excited about any of their exclusives. Like they didn't they didn't feel anything special to me. I know they're huge titles, and I know for people they are huge titles. But for me, games like Infamous is not a big deal. Kingdom Hearts I never played. Final Fantasy I haven't played since Final Fantasy X. Um, And so, like, the exclusives that PlayStation announced and that they said they would have didn't interest me at all. There was nothing about their conference that did. And then with the games that I'm planning to get on Xbox, again, I'm planning to play online. And because I'm planning to play online, I don't trust PlayStation to improve their network enough, even though they are now charging you in order to play online, which I thought was another huge negative for PlayStation because they built up a huge following solely based off the fact that you can play online without having to pay anything. And now with their new announcement that you have to buy PlayStation Plus in order to basically get their in order to play any multiplayer games online, I feel like that's going to alienate a huge number of people from PlayStation, just for that simple fact that that's something different than what they've always been used to. Um, Also, like the a big thing that everyone talked about was the price difference. Yeah, the PlayStation 4 is $100 cheaper, but think about it this way: you are going to have this console for a good 5 to 8 years, which makes a difference of less than $20 a year when it comes down to the final purchase price of one of these consoles. And for me, that just isn't that big of a deal. It's not that big of an impact. Realistically, I'll probably end up getting both. I know I'll end up getting both consoles, but at launch, I'm definitely going to be getting an Xbox One. But anyways, guys, I'm out of time. I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on this. I may do another one if you want. Leave your thoughts, leave your opinions in the comment section. Maybe you can persuade me otherwise. But thanks for watching. See ya.